Where are you from 1 to 10 on your journey of having better health of mind, body, and spirit since they work together in synergy? And how can that collide with action, adventure, along with advocacy and awareness? You're invited on this discussion today on this updated bookstore tour, and we're going to figure out ways to have better mental peace, mental clarity, health of body, mind, and spirit, along with discovering that action, adventure, advocacy, and awareness. I am Nurse Ann. I'm a certified emergency and mental health registered nurse on the front lines for many years and still going. And I'm coming now from the front lines to deliver this updated bookstore tour for you. We're going to start first with the Mental Falls First 6 Stories edition. It's a fictional drama where you get to ride along with the frontline workers rescuing those in crisis of mental, physical, and spiritual. It's all in one book, but it's 6 short stories, which I'll go over in a minute. And to make it easier, and it's almost free, it's also on Audible and iTunes, an audiobook. It was narrated by Drama Simpson. He brought it to life with action, adventure, siren noises, different character voices. You're going to feel like you're right there in the action with the frontline workers rescuing those in crisis. So Audible and iTunes, the Mental Falls First 6 Stories edition. After you listen, please leave a review. And as I said, it is 6 short stories that I created in my free time as a busy nurse on the front lines. But to make it almost free and easier, since it is an interconnected series, it's all one book, I did put it in also the one book, the Mental Falls First 6 Stories edition. We're going to go over those individual action-packed stories that have lots of action, adventure, suspense, romance, faith, inspiration, and even more action, because with your help, it's written to be a television drama series and/or a web series. We'll jump back to that in a second, but first we're going to go over the 8 devotionals, and the one that I just released is Help Each Other Heal Poetry Devotional by Nurse Ann. Because you know what? Do you agree that healing of body, mind, and spirit is more readily achieved with the mutual help of one another? So we're going to discuss that in here. I have a brand new poem in Help Each Other Heal Poetry Devotional, and it's called Help Each Other Heal. And we're going to discuss in a poetic fashion how to do that. And then there's a devotional part and just some practical tips for you. I also included favorites from my other devotionals that we'll go over. There is the titles that you will encounter are Help Each Other Heal. There's Healing Storm, because a lot of times, especially when we're doing that introspection, digging into our lives to get that what we need out and work on new things, we go through a lot of introspection. Sometimes it can feel like a storm. Trauma healing, trauma bonds. There's so much that we're going to discover in all these devotionals. And then number 3 is encourage one another. Number 4 is whole in my heart. A lot of times we all go through that sense of feeling like something is missing. We're going to discuss it more in this poem and that devotional. There's mental battles, because the battle sometimes rages on from nighttime until dawn, and we're going to discuss that. There's quietness, which was inspired by Psalm 23, and that's also a way to just get that downtime, recharge, and refocus on what's important in life. There's strangers. Sometimes we're afraid of strangers, and it helps us get past that in a healthy way. Just, I'm talking about our everyday people that we come in contact with. There's touch, there's windows, talking about eye contact and the windows to the soul. There's hide or confide, because sometimes people are afraid to speak out about what they're going through. And sometimes you do have those healthy boundaries, but it also shares ways to reach out to each other, to confide and help each other heal. There's trapped in memories, where we discuss memory disorders and how people feel in that. There's single parent and how we can help each other with that. There's battered, which is about domestic violence awareness. That's very important to help each other in that. There's notice me. Sometimes we feel unnoticed. There's kindness. There's also number 16 is generosity. And then there's kindness number 2, which is from a different devotional. Then there's advocacy, winding it up with number 19, helping others win. I consider that one of the greatest joys in life is to help another person advance and win. How about you? And you're going to get a lot of that help for you in these devotionals. And number 20 is healing a body, mind, and spirit. So one more look. Help Each Other Heal Poetry Devotional. And there's a link at my website. It's nurseann.com. That's Ann with an E. And you can see it in the description. And also at the website, there are links to most of these and just ways to get to them. And then the one that I released right before that is Your Everyday Legacy Poetry Devotional to Splash Impactful Transformation as you go. Because you know what? Your life legacy isn't just for the future, but it's for our everyday encounters. So this is about thinking about the legacy that we leave as we go, and also for the future, not just for ourselves, but also for our loved ones and those we encounter along the path. So there's a lot of interesting poems in here, and also some practical tips, some devotional scripture to help us along that path. And the first one is transformation. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it's, should I just stay the same and never have a new name? Keep doing things the old way, stuck in the past, afraid of a new day. Or find out what makes me tick. Explore the depths of what makes me sick. Break up the toxic soil. Bubble up the new and let it boil. There's more, but I will let you discover it on your Everyday Legacy Poetry Devotional by Nurse Ann, which is me. And then right before that, or actually I think after that, I release Mental Strength Devotional, which is 31 days of focus for growing your mental wellness and resilience to deepen your roots of mental resilience, along with building your faith on solid ground with this life-enhancing devotional, because your mental wellness can blossom and thrive for your exponential growth. Do you want exponential growth for body, mind, and spirit? As I said, they work together in synergy. Of course you do. Mental Strength Devotional. And then we have Ignite Life Poetry Devotional. This is As You Go, dare to inspire and bless everyone in your path. There's a lot of life stories in here in poem format, serious struggles that I see on the front lines of emergency and mental health, just in my day-to-day life. These are struggles across the world. We get into a lot of serious subjects in here. In the poem format, we talk about homelessness, just feeling unloved. There is, once again, single parents. That poem comes up again about battered and domestic violence awareness, weary travelers, our limitations, our families, and just there's a lot more in here, and stuff about kindness, just to help us encounter these life stories with each other, going back to helping each other heal and having that awareness and advocacy. So Ignite Life Poetry Devotional by Nurse Ann. And a lot of people gravitate to the Mental Healing Poetry Devotional, where we discuss life challenges along with God-ordained courage and healing to help us turn away from mindsets controlled by fear. I want to inspire you to step into your true destiny of a faith walk in a purpose-driven path. It's so important to dig in and discover your purpose. Get on that path. It's going to help you with that healing, that mental healing, and inspire you to live that. So this has a lot of deep, insightful poems about mental battles that we face, that I face, that you have faced, that I see on the front lines of emergency and mental health and worldwide. And you're going to get a lot out of this. And it also helps you with that introspection. So Mental Healing Poetry Devotional. We're about to go on, but I'm going to pause and everyone get a drink of water, because it's healthy for everything, especially healthy for your cells. Do you want healthy cells? Do you have them? Get a drink of water. I will wait for you. Did you get one? All right, let's go on. So the next one is Inspiration Battles Devotional. This is the hardcover version, and that's the paperback. Inspiration Battles Devotional, Biblical Medicine for Real Life, and Soul Searching with a Dose of Encouragement. Because I know the battle to stay inspired can seem overwhelming at times, but God reminds us our faith should not be in the power of people, but in His wisdom. So this is going to help you embark on a journey of letting the Lord search your life, penetrate your heart, mind, will, emotions, your everything, and whatever might seem difficult for the moment will yield a reward of peace and purpose. And you can find new hope and inspiration on this A to Z devotional inspiration Battles Devotional, once again by Nurse Ann. Hopefully your favorite nurse and new independent author. I hope that you follow this channel because it's here for your inspirational wellness about mind, body, and spirit. And there's a lot of videos and podcasts for you for mental wellness, mental strength, for your health of body, mind, and spirit, for your breaking out of boxes, living an authentic life, having more courage. There's a lot of different topics on the videos, and on the website, I did also place them in different tabs of mental wellness. There's a nurse's station. There is some of the poems read out loud for you, inspiration battles. There's a lot more. You can see it at nurseann.com, and that is Ann with an E. And I will write down nurseann.com in the description. And then there's Word Puzzles Devotional. This was so much fun to make and fun for you to read. Why, you ask? Because it's interesting words linked to everyday life and our inner thought struggles. So I found new, different, interesting, unique words, tied that in with struggles that we face in our mind and our life. And then there's some relevant biblical prescriptions to get your dose of wisdom and inspiration. Once again, I want you to overcome and thrive and have hope and new light for your life journey. Guess what else is there for you in the Word Puzzle Devotional? Medicine for your soul. Do you need soul medicine? I think we all could use some of that. And last but not least on the devotionals, and then we'll jump into the 6 stories, and then we're going to get out of here, is Energize Health, Body, Mind, and Spirit. It's a lifestyle devotional. It's designed to propel your total health for body, mind, and spirit. So let's get started. And we discuss a lot of that in my different videos and podcasts, which I'll see you at Energize Health, Body, Mind, and Spirit. So as promised, let us jump into the 6 short stories. I'm going to tell you what they're each about. And as I said, they're interconnected. It's one big story, but each story, it's like you're watching a television drama series and or a web series. And each short story highlights a couple different mental health and emergency struggles that people face, that you might face, that I've faced, that I've seen people face on the front lines over and over of emergency and mental health. And then you also get to meet the frontline workers, and they're all the same throughout, so that you can get to know them and see that the struggles that they face in their own thought battles, the relationship drama, and the bumpy ride that you're going to go through, because it's so full of action and danger and so much more. So let's go through each book, and then we're going to get out of here. Once again, it's in the Mental Falls First 6 Stories edition. And lest I remind you, it is an audiobook, Audible and iTunes, the Mental Falls First 6 Stories edition. It's so full of action, different character voices. You will love it. So let me go over each short story with you quickly, and then we're going to get out of here. So the first one, the reason I wrote this is also just to give a voice to the stories and the struggles that people go through, and highlight and have advocacy and awareness along with that action and adventure. So the first one is Sheep Among Wolves. And you get to ride along with caseworker Lita and Officer Leon as they try to convince the man hovered on the edge of the bridge not to do the unthinkable. And can they rescue the naive young lady whose mind is being ravaged by frightening hallucinations? Will the paranoid young lady trust the caseworker and nurses? Or will the confused little lamb listen to her so-called boyfriend? Does the lonely caseworker fall for the handsome officer in spite of the nagging red flags? Will she rely on faith or feelings? What about you? Do you go more on faith or feelings? Leave that in the comments. So you get to join these frontline workers as they battle forces of darkness, seen and unseen. The shifts are 24/7, so you get to buckle up for this compelling ride filled with suspense, danger, action, romance, faith, and inspiration. So Sheep Among Wolves talks about thought and mind disorders, hallucinations, people fending for themselves on the street, people going through relapse, addiction, depression, and just you ride along from the street, then they go to the emergency room, then they go to the hospital, and it also involves their family, the community, the church, their friends. And as I said, you meet the frontline workers and see their relationship drama and their mental thought battles. So the second one is also connected, and it's the Mental Files Dr. John Doe. We deal with dementia, Alzheimer's, memory disorders, and crime and danger. And so it asks, will the elderly man running in traffic screaming? Why is he screaming? He's a doctor. Follow the officer, caseworker, nurses, and the new ride-along from the street to the health care system. And will Leon and Lita take their relationship to the next level? You'll have to find out. Mental health struggles and thought strongholds rage in this ongoing drama. And what role does God play in the outcome? Once again, the shifts are 24/7. So buckle up for this compelling ride, leading you into the action with the next book is The Mental Files, A Tent Under the Bridge. Will the homeless woman let the frontline workers help her find a safer life? Why? And it also asks why sometimes people that are homeless choose to live on their own, maybe in unsafer situations. And it just kind of gets into those reasons how the community, the church, the families help, how some people don't want to help. But will she let the frontline workers help her find a safer life? And can the new paramedic handle the trauma and drama? And then it asks, why did the young lady from the first story, why did she run away again? Will the caseworker be able to trust that handsome officer again? You're going to find out with the action, danger, romance, faith, and inspiration. And the next book, right before we do that, get another drink of water. I will wait. It's so healthy for you. And I want you to have health of body, mind, and spirit. What? They work together in synergy. So we also have the Mental Files Defenders of the Week. We talk about people having anxiety, helping each other with that, people getting bullied, wanting to give up on their creative endeavors. So right along on this continuing drama series as the frontline workers attempt to rescue those in crisis, mental, physical, and spiritual. And it asks, can Chandra break out of her paralyzing fear and anxieties? Stop allowing the bullies to take over her existence and place her in danger. And will she be able to help the stranger with a similar struggle? Or will the opposition take them both down? Will the Frontline Workers Project to help the less fortunate be thwarted by the community and some of the church members who don't want their comfort disturbed? Is the opposition willing to place others in danger to keep their status quo? Strongholds to be broken, a God who is able. The shifts are 24/7. Buckle up for this bumpy ride. 2 more and then we're done. Then it leads on, the action continues with the same characters, the story continues with the Mental Files ready, willing, and able. And you're going to ride along on the continuing drama as they discover that problems exist in every type of household, for richer or poorer. And you know what? Sometimes the unlikeliest of people can be the actual heroes. Abilities triumph over a spectrum of doubt. We get into autism awareness, the spectrum, just different disabilities that people deal with, and also how their families and the community help, and how that even no matter what labels or limitations a person may feel or that they might have, feel like they're in a box, it also talks about how they can actually be the actual heroes in many ways, and their contributions are beautiful, and how we can foster that. And also asks, will the young paramedic make wise or hasty relationship decisions? What about you? Do you make wise or hasty relationship decisions? And why does the mental health nurse get sent to the emergency room? Find out what happens to her. Dun, dun, dun. Can the community and church finally accept the so-called different people in their midst. So buckle up for this fictional drama series highlighting mental health and relationship drama. So leading you into the season finale. And as I said, it's a season finale because with your help, it will be a television drama and or web series. So leave your comments and follow, like, all that good stuff. So the mental file's out of control. Dun, dun, dun. One more won't hurt. Or will it? How about you? When does the seemingly harmless fun cross into the realm of out of control, placing others in danger? Does the entitled patient comply with his treatment, or will he make the frontline workers pay? Do you deal with entitled people, entitled customers? Of course you do. And will the big event get canceled due to the officer's mistake? Can he be forgiven? Given the benefit of the doubt, what will reign? New beginnings or old habits? So once again, ride along on this continuing drama series. The shifts are 24/7. Buckle up for this bumpy ride filled with action, suspense, danger, faith, romance. And don't forget the 8 devotionals that we talked about that I created in my free time as a busy nurse. And the newest one is Help Each Other Heal. Have a blessed day.